I'm glad somebody's talking about this because I've always said it that Agent Smith, Mr. Smith, however you want to call him, is one of the most underrated villains of all time. That dude was terrifying, and nobody really talks about it. They talk about Joker, rightfully so. They talk about Thanos, rightfully so. But Thanos has been around. Agent Smith been out, what, 10, 15 years before Thanos, and he was running things. I mean, we know Matrix 1 and then Matrix 2 with the whole clones, and to see what he was doing in Matrix 3 where it really took Neo everything he had. Bro, I don't understand. And then, oh, by the way, shout out to, I forgot his name, Reaver. I believe that's the guy who played Agent Smith. But shout out to him. He made Agent Smith as legendary as he is. The acting, the chilling, like he was very chilling. The acting, the writing form, which was very simple, but how he delivered it was so good. Mr. Anderson, something as simple as that is always legendary. You know, it is inevitable. Like the stuff like he's a legend in my eyes. I'm shocked he hasn't had a lot of roles. Maybe he didn't want to because he was in Lord of the Rings as well, and he was great there. But I'm looking forward to seeing what they say here because the title says, "What makes Agent Smith one of the most terrifying villains in film?" And it is crazy nobody talks about him. But let's see this. Shout out to Nostalgic. I'm gonna post the original video in the description below. So if you just want to see it without me here. All right.
Human beings are a disease. A cancer of this planet. You are a plague.
This is Agent Smith, and
Legend.
what we just heard is best described as a manifesto, delivered with an off-tempo cadence and series of facial expressions that are almost alien. Everything about his slim frame in a purposely generic suit is chilling. But
Yes.
why does such an unassuming character instill us with fear more than 20 years later? How does a computer program full of disdain and determination appeal to the worst parts of our humanity? The Matrix was released in 1999 and was written and directed by the
goodness gracious,
Wachowskis. Part
1999?
philosophical
I
inquiry
was
about
8.
existence and part homage to kung fu and anime, it told the story of a chosen one named Neo and his journey to save the last of humanity. In order to do so, Neo traverses between the real world and a simulation known as the Matrix. Chasing him through the simulation is Agent Smith, played by Hugo Weaving. The
Hugo
Matrix
Weaving, okay.
itself is all about duality, existence and reality, choice and predetermination, Agent Smith and Neo. While Neo wrestles with what his role is within the Matrix, Smith is steadfast. We learn that Agent Smith is one of many programs designed by the Matrix to keep the simulation running smoothly. Smith is an uber soldier, adept with weapons and martial arts, but in the world of the Matrix, where any skill can be learned,
I know kung fu.
that is not what scares us. Through Weaving's wonderfully commanding and charismatic performance and a deftly crafted script, we immediately learn Smith is more powerful than the other agents. All agents are able to shift at will between bodies within the Matrix, but they all report to Smith. In an early scene before the full reveal of what the Matrix is, we are led to believe Agent Smith is an FBI agent. During an arrest of Neo, then going by John Anderson, the other agents stand in the back corner as Smith calmly sits across from Neo. As soon as he methodically sits down and unbinds his
little
folder
things.
of evidence,
Fixing
there's
his
an air
shirt.
of control. We often think of villains as unbridled madness, teetering on the unpredictability of violence. And don't get me wrong, that's effective and can be extremely impactful. But there's something terrifying in Smith's restraint. It's a sense of assumed power, a feeling that he can't even be bothered to be angry. And his
Yeah.
mannerisms reflect that.
Yeah.
A rehearsed poise that says this is just one more part of his day. One more thing he has to do before going home. That calmness in opposition to a chilling moment such as an arrest and threat of jail time is unnerving. It goes against every fiber of our fight or flight reflex.
What good is a phone call if you're unable
To
to
speak?
speak?
This is the sort of role that an actor like Hugo Weaving was made for.
Yes,
Weaving is an
let's
English
say
actor born in Nigeria.
I said that. I was literally just said that. If he didn't do it right, Agent Smith wouldn't have been as terrifying. Because yes, Agent Smith could have been written as a dangerous villain, but it's the actor who makes it chilling. And Hugo Weaver deserves all the respect for this.
Who has spent most of his career in Australia. That sort of worldly upbringing lends his performance an air of something familiar, but somehow unrecognizable. He understands his body, restraining his face, letting only the muscles of his mouth move. But what exactly is Agent Smith? We're told that the agents are programs. They exist solely within the Matrix in order to police any disturbances. For years, Smith has been hunting Morpheus, a hero among the human resistance and the one who freed Neo. But again, the Matrix is about duality. While Smith starts the franchise as a simple program doing the bidding of a robotic collective, by the film's end, he's transformed entirely. One particular scene toward the climax of the first film shows us Smith interrogating Morpheus. In a rare moment of vulnerability, Smith removes his glasses and becomes terrifyingly honest.
I
Hate
this place.
In this almost relaxed posture,
zoo.
we see the true Smith that we follow through the remainder of the franchise.
Yeah.
He tells us he despises this simulation so much, even the smell has begun to upset him. It is an oddly relatable moment. I'm sure all of us can relate to being so angry, so frustrated that every single little thing becomes an irritant. It's here we start to empathize ever so slightly. And part of that is due to Weaving's performance. For the entirety of the film, we've seen Smith stilted. Weaving has said he based Smith's tenor and cadence on nondescript newscasters, with Lawrence Fishburne comparing him to a demonic Walter Cronkite. It makes sense, mimicking what would normally be considered a soothing, inoffensive tone. Through Weaving's mechanical filter, everything feels slightly off. Until here, where his eyes go wide. His jaw clenches and we see the madman lurking behind the facade of an agent. Agent Smith is no longer presenting himself as a monster that is out to destroy the Resistance out of some sort of mathematical equation. He tells Morpheus and us he just wants to be done with this. His resentment has grown over countless years. He's watched humanity refuse countless simulations, seen us turn down utopias, while all he wants is a life of peace away from the Matrix. Smith genuinely believes that if he can find the location of the human city Zion, he can return to the machines and be done with this simulation. But even after his initial defeat at the hands and mind of Neo, there is no end. Smith returns in Reloaded and Revolutions changed.
Surprised to see me?
His charcoal suit is now black, his earpiece gone to further drive home the idea that he is now unplugged, and we're left with the question, what more could he possibly be capable of now that he's left to his free will? Smith still wants to destroy Zion, but in doing so, he hopes to destroy the Matrix as well.
Smith will suffice.
He becomes, in a
His
sense,
lines,
a
bro,
non-discriminating.
his lines landed perfectly. I remember when I first saw it in theaters, I didn't recognize it. I didn't recognize what he said until the second viewing. Because sometimes, he'll whisper it and you just have to catch it. And I missed it the first time. Where the guy was like, oh, God. He was like, Smith will suffice. It's like just his writing is the way he lands it is perfect.
Able to question, what more
just
could
rolls
he
like
possibly be
dude's
capable
pure
of now
evil,
that he's
and he
left
does
to
it
his
so
free
well.
will? Smith still wants to destroy Zion, but in doing so, he hopes to destroy the Matrix as well.
Smith will suffice.
He becomes, in a sense, a non-discriminating virus. While all agents before were able to bounce from avatar to avatar freely, Smith's resurrection now allows him to copy himself into anyone inside the Matrix. It is another wonderful, earnest metaphor from the Wachowskis. Smith and his cohorts become a hive mind trying to drown out the unique voices of the human resistance. When we see Neo deftly battle against the small
Which
army
was
of
the
clones
best
Smith
fight
has
scene
made,
in the Matrix
they seem
history.
endless. A tidal wave of prim and proper suits.
I know some
slapping
people
against
didn't
the
like
shore of
the whole
individuality.
multiples.
And he
I loved
doesn't
it.
care what gets lost in his righteous anger. We've seen Smith at his most vulnerable, and as we follow him throughout the sequels, we see him at his most ruthless. His soul.
That scene right here at Revolutions had my heart pumping because it was like, what is Neo literally going to do? That's fine. What is Neo going to do to win this? What? Yeah, everybody in there is Agent Smith. You beat him. You might beat him. Who knows if it actually does end everything? That scene, just with the music, when Neo was walking in slow motion, and the music, he's looking up, and you see all the agents in the building, and then the perfect line, which is right here, Mr. Anderson, welcome back. We missed you. Like his lies were perfect, but yeah, my heart was pumping right here. It was like what I done with the place? And then Neo says it ends tonight. Oh man, bro.
Purpose
legendary.
Now is to
He
leave
is
both worlds
underrated.
leveled. When we talk about anarchist villains in films, Heath Ledger's Joker is the most common name thrown around.
Enough from the clown.
Let's not blow this out of proportion.
But Weaving's Agent Smith should not be overlooked.
Thank you.
Here is a character that
'Cause
is
yes,
literally
Joker I would say
trying
is
to
number one,
destroy
but
two worlds. There is no justification for Smith's actions other than his exhaustion. His exhaustion with years, maybe centuries of being bound to an endless cycle. Now, there's the chance to sever the loop of his existence. And that is terrifying to us as an audience.
That was such a sick battle.
At this point, we've spent hours with Smith. We've seen his physicality and determination. Now, we see him loosed upon the world with one simple goal: destroy it all.
This is my world!
My world.
Agent Smith terrifies us because he is our mirror image. The worst parts of our frustrations towards a mundane world set to a repeating cycle. The character of Neo serves as wish fulfillment, what we would do with our lives if we were able to learn anything, know the world's true meaning, and look great in a black trench coat. But Agent Smith is an example of our worst tendencies gone wild. He's learned everything, seen humanity's origin, and is ready
That's
to
an
watch
interesting
it
way to
fall
look at
to
that.
pieces, simply because he believes he knows best.
It ends tonight.
I know it does. I've seen it.
It is impossible to separate art from the real world. Lily Wachowski has come out to say the original films were about the trans experience, even if she didn't believe the world was ready at the time. And it's genuinely hard today to watch a traditionally prim and proper man exert his wants and choice upon the world with the context of what is happening around us. The world, in both real life and film, will always be filled with villains using their power to exert their wants. While they'll often say it is only to represent the people, characters like Agent Smith exist to remind us their desires are malicious and self-serving. As we watch Smith assimilate Neo at the end of Revolutions, we watch the victory wash over Smith's eyes. It is heart-wrenching to watch someone take so much joy in something so vile, so forced upon. He genuinely believes in his selfishness, and the repercussions of his decisions pale in comparison to what he has decided. That sense of ego truly makes him one of film's most horrifying villains. So what do you think?
Yeah.
Is Agent Smith's ability to slink through the everyday crowd an intentional move on the Wachowskis' part? Let us...
Underrated. If you are mentioning legendary villains, Agent Smith should be in there. I don't see anybody. That's why I was shocked I saw this video, but nobody talks about that. Heck, in Multiverse, the video game, I was shocked they had him in the game. I'm like, nobody talks about Agent Smith. They talk about Thanos. They talk about Joker. Like I said, rightfully so. I'm not saying they're bad, but Agent Smith's been terrifying before Thanos came into the picture. You know, and I mean, it's debatable, but maybe Agent Smith is worse. It's debatable. It's debatable because there's two different types of villains. But I'm talking about when it comes to getting the job done. He got, well, no, I mean, Thanos did wipe out half of humanity. So, I mean, but we don't have to compare the two. But I'm just talking about legendary, chilling, written well, everything. Like when you think of Joker, written well, great acting. Darth Vader, written well, great acting. Thanos, written well, great acting. Agent Smith, like this is, it's very rare you get villains like this. So I always believe you give them their credit, and the actor the credit, the writers the credit, and the directing the credit to make sure that his screen time, his or her, whoever the villain is, gets the right time, gets the right screen time, just to get the, you know, let them have their moment, let the actor cook. And then those four I just named, there's other ones too, they definitely deserve the nod as legendary. In my opinion, like when it comes to Mount Rushmore, Joker, Vader, off the top of my head, I would put Agent Smith there and Thanos after that. It could, from off the top. Like I'm thinking off the top right now. Let me know what y'all think in the comments below. But anyway, thank y'all so much for tuning in. Shout out. Let me make sure I give a like. His narration of it was definitely well done. But yeah, let me know what y'all think in the comments below. But thank y'all so much for tuning in. I'll see you.